James, if you can fold that other side down there. So,
Not gonna happen.
You can see if we come down here, not a flat folding rear seat, quite a bit of an angle to that. Good to keep in mind. With that seat being even a little bit more reclined, we're out of space. A little compact in here. You do have bigger options for the money, but this might be the right machine for your dollar.
Mazda CX-30, Subaru Crosstrek, Honda HR-V, Jeep Renegade, Chevrolet Trailblazer, and Kia Seltos.
You may have to watch your head on that just slightly.
If you're shopping for a new crossover in 2023, you're likely considering one or more of these machines, but how much do you need to be sweating those fuel economy ratings? Which one's the best if you've got tall kids? Does the Chevy or the Subaru make the best use of your fuel dollars? Well, I've crunched all of those numbers and more, and here's my very detailed report. First, let's size these machines up.
Go up inside. Big jump. Good boy. This is Ghost. Ghost is a very, very good boy. We still have plenty of room in here to go for a car ride.
In terms of length, the Honda HR-V leads the pack at 179.8 inches or 457 centimeters. The Subaru Crosstrek is not far behind, measuring 176.4 inches or 448 centimeters. That's 3.4 inches or 9 centimeters shorter than the HR-V. The Mazda CX-30 and Chevrolet Trailblazer are tied for third place, both measuring 173 inches, or 439 centimeters, which is 3.4 inches or 9 centimeters shorter than the Crosstrek, and 6.8 inches or 18 centimeters shorter than the HR-V. Jeep Renegade is the shortest of this group at 166.6 inches or 423 centimeters, and that's a full 13.2 inches or 34 centimeters shorter than the longest vehicle, the HR-V. The Renegade is the shortest machine here, but it is also the widest at 74.2 inches or about 189 centimeters. The Honda HR-V is slightly narrower by just under 2 inches. The Chevy Trailblazer measures 71 inches or 180.3 centimeters in width. That's 3.2 inches or 8.2 centimeters narrower than the Renegade. So the Subaru Crosstrek and Mazda CX-30 are the narrowest vehicles, both measuring 70.7 inches, or about 179.6 centimeters, which is about a third of an inch narrower than the Trailblazer, and 3.5 inches, or 8.9 centimeters narrower than the widest vehicle here, the Renegade.
So I can actually fold this seat down flat. Not only can I actually reach all the way on the back seat, no problem, but I've got this little workspace here that means I can set up to do a bit of work on the go.
In terms of wheelbase, the Subaru Crosstrek leads the pack at 105.1 inches or 267 centimeters. The Honda HR-V has a wheelbase of 104.5 inches or 265 centimeters, so about half an inch shorter than the Crosstrek. Both the CX-30 and Trailblazer have a wheelbase of 104 inches or 264 centimeters, just half an inch shorter than the HR-V, and just over an inch shorter than the Crosstrek. It's the Jeep Renegade with the shortest wheelbase at 101 inches or 256 centimeters. That's 3 inches shorter than the CX-30 and Trailblazer, and a full 4.1 inches shorter than the wheelbase of the longest vehicle, the Subaru Crosstrek. Now, if we bring the Kia Seltos into the comparison here, the Honda HR-V is still the longest vehicle, but the Kia Seltos comes in close to the Mazda CX-30 and Chevrolet Trailblazer, with a length of 172 inches or 437 centimeters. The Jeep Renegade remains the widest, and the Kia Seltos matches the Subaru Crosstrek's width at 70.9 inches or 180 centimeters. The Crosstrek also still has the longest wheelbase, while the Kia Seltos has a wheelbase closer to that of the Chevrolet Trailblazer at 103.5 inches or 263 centimeters. So to summarize in terms of overall size, the Kia Seltos is particularly closely matched to the dimensions of machines like the Mazda CX-30 and Chevrolet Trailblazer. And in terms of this competitive set, the Honda HR-V and Subaru Crosstrek are the largest vehicles, with the HR-V being the longest despite the Crosstrek actually having the longest wheelbase. The Jeep Renegade is the widest vehicle but also the shortest, and the Mazda CX-30 and Chevrolet Trailblazer and Kia Seltos are all pretty similar in size somewhere in the middle.
It's really great for the do-it-yourself oil change guys and gals because the oil filter's always been right up on the top, super easily accessible. And I'm curious to see if that's still the case here. If you've driven one of these before, owned one, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Are you going to be able to change your own oil filter really easily on this? Let's have a look. Aha! It's still right there, which means it's going to be a little bit easier to save yourself a couple of bucks and change your oil on your own if you like. I've got some very important fuel economy math coming up for you soon, but first, let's see how roomy the interior and cargo areas of each of these machines are and what stands out in the data. Might lose a fraction of an inch of space here with the accessory puppy mat. And I'll show you why this is in here. Knee room more than adequate. I've got about 4 or 5 fingers worth of width in front of my knees there. Center console that folds down here, 2 USB-C charging ports and a little storage cubby there. Not a flat rear floor down in the middle, but plenty of room here for my feet. Headroom sort of disappearing a little bit back here. That's 4 fingers above my head instead of 5 fingers worth up in the front. So more than adequate knee room, more than adequate headroom for an adult of my size. Good amount of storage and charging all around, comfortable seats, good outward sight lines. Relatively good outward sight lines, a little bit pushed up into the roof here for a little bit more of a coupe-like feel.
So in terms of interior volume, the Kia Seltos leads the pack with a spacious 126 cubic feet, or 3,570 liters. Then it's the Jeep Renegade and Honda HR-V with 100 cubic feet, or 2,832 liters. Remember that Renegade is the shortest machine, but it's also the widest. The Trailblazer is right on their tail with 98 cubic feet, or 2,775 liters of interior volume, while the Mazda CX-30 rounds out the group with the smallest interior volume at 94.1 cubic feet, or 2,665 liters. When it comes to overall interior volume amongst these competitors, the difference between the smallest and largest is a substantial 31.9 cubic feet, or 905 liters, and that's equal to about 26% of the interior volume of the Seltos. So if overall interior space is an important purchase consideration for you, be sure to shop wisely.
So first time we've actually had a shoot cut short by the weather. The car was no problem, but for the camera gear and the camera operator, and for the driver who's pretty snowblind and this is getting a little bit risky, we may just have to come back and finish this shooting another day.
Which way's the road again?
Yeah, exactly, right? All right.
The Jeep Renegade delivers the most abundant headroom figures in the group in both front and rear. Front headroom measures in at a generous 41 inches or 104 centimeters, with the Chevy Trailblazer and Kia Seltos coming in slightly behind at 40 inches or 102 centimeters. So headroom in the Renegade is generous, and headroom in the HR-V and Crosstrek should prove comfortable at 39 inches or 99 centimeters, while the Mazda CX-30 tightens things up with the least front headroom in our group at 38.1 inches or 97 centimeters. In the rear seats, the Renegade again leads with 40.5 inches or 103 centimeters, followed by the HR-V and CX-30 at 38.3 inches, 97 centimeters, and the Trailblazer, Seltos, and Crosstrek all at 38 inches or 96 centimeters of rear seat headroom.
It's a little head whack there. Once I'm in and seated, the headroom is actually not too bad. A little bit lower here, that's for the hardware to do with the sunroof, and another probably 3/4 of an inch or so of headroom behind that. You can really see that leading legroom measurement here. Nothing cramped around the legs at all.
When it comes to legroom, the Crosstrek provides the most space in front with 41.3 inches, that's 109 centimeters, followed by the Renegade and HR-V, both at 41 inches or 104 centimeters. The CX-30, Trailblazer, and Seltos offer slightly less front legroom at 40 inches or 102 centimeters, and in terms of rear seat legroom, it's the Honda HR-V in the lead with 39.3 inches or 100 centimeters, followed closely by the Trailblazer at 39 inches even, and then the Seltos at 38. Then it's the Crosstrek with a bit less space at 36.5 inches or 93 centimeters, followed closely by the CX-30 at 36.3 inches or 92 centimeters.
Pretty much out of knee and legroom.
And that means the Renegade offers the least amount of rear seat legroom at 35 inches or 89 centimeters. No surprise, as it's the shortest vehicle here.
I should point one thing out here. There were these cubbies. Did you see them?
No.
We got these little cubbies down here, and I wonder, well, it's not going to hold it securely, but maybe that's what those are for. I guess we'll have to check the owner's manual, but that's not really my style.
The Seltos gets a 2-liter non-turbo engine or a 1.6-liter turbo. Both are available with all-wheel drive, and the base model comes with a 2-liter engine and front-wheel drive. That's the most fuel-efficient variant. It uses 7.7 liters of gas to drive 100 kilometers. With all-wheel drive in the 2-liter 146 horsepower engine, the Seltos makes it 8.2 liters of gas to drive 100 kilometers. That's an extra half a liter of gas every 100 clicks to run the all-wheel drive. With 1.6-liter 175 horsepower turbo engine and standard all-wheel drive that comes with it, it's 8.7 liters of gas to drive 100 kilometers combined. So as you're shopping and considering which engine and powertrain to choose for your Kia Seltos, just keep this handy tip in mind. From the base level engine, you'll use about a half liter more gas every 100 kilometers with the all-wheel drive system, and another half liter of gas every 100 kilometers more than that for the turbo engine, which comes standard with the all-wheel drive system. In dollars and cents, assuming you drive 25,000 kilometers per year and pay $1.50 for a liter of gas, then the 2-liter front-drive model will give you an annual fuel bill of about $2,890, while the 2-liter all-wheel drive will come in around $3,075. And with the 1.6-liter turbo and all-wheel drive, it's $3,260 per year. So that's the Seltos Turbo delivering about 20% more power for just about 6% more of your fuel dollars, roughly an extra $31 a month to feed the turbo engine, or about $370 per year added to your fuel bill. All CX-30 models are all-wheel drive. The standard 2-liter Skyactiv engine makes 155 horsepower, the 2.5-liter Skyactiv engine makes it 191, and the 2.5-liter Skyactiv Turbo makes 227 on regular grade gas. In the CX-30, it's actually the mid-level 2.5-liter non-turbo engine that's the most fuel efficient. It uses 8.2 liters of gas to drive 100 kilometers. That's the same as the base engine in the Seltos, despite delivering 45 more horsepower. With the cheaper 2-liter engine, the CX-30 uses a little more fuel, 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers on average, and the Skyactiv Turbo 2.5-liter engine makes it 9.3 liters of gas to drive 100 clicks. So based on our earlier math, that's a gas bill of $3,225 from the 2-liter, $3,075 from the more powerful 2.5-liter, and $3,490 for the turbo, and that's about $415 per year more fuel than the non-turbo 2.5, or call it $35 a month. But there is a little bit of complexity with the infotainment system. So here's the setup here. We've got a fairly modest screen. It's a little bit sort of sunken down into that opening in the dashboard. This is not a touch screen, by the way, and so in order to do anything up here, we have to rely on this controller down here, which has 4 hard buttons around it, a dial that turns left and right, and clicks down, and also tips forwards, backwards, left, and right as well. Volume control over here, when generally you're expecting it somewhere in this area, although you can use this dial to skip and rewind tracks on your audio by tipping it to the left and to the right like this. The Jeep Renegade's 1.3-liter turbo 4-cylinder makes 177 horsepower and 210 pounds of torque. It uses 9.2 liters of gas to drive 100 kilometers for most models, and 9.9 liters of gas to cover that same distance in the more off-road capable Trailhawk, both with standard 4-wheel drive. So in dollars and cents, a Renegade's fuel economy is on par with the turbo Mazda, despite less power and a lot less torque, but a lot more off-road capability. It'll be $3,450 a year on fuel, make it $3,713 if you go for the Trailhawk. And that's a difference of $263 per year, or about $22 a month on gas to run the heavier-duty Trailhawk model. Honda HR-V next with the 158 horsepower 4-cylinder powering all models. With front-wheel drive, it's 8.3 liters to go 100 kilometers, and all-wheel drive makes it 8.7 liters to drive that same distance. That is a $3,113 annual fuel bill from the front-wheel drive and $3,263 for all-wheel drive, just $150 extra a year on gas to run the all-wheel drive system. The Subaru Crosstrek comes with one of 2 non-turbo 4-cylinder boxer engines. All-wheel drive is standard with both. There's a 2-liter flat 4 with 152 horsepower, or a 2.5-liter with 182. In the new for 2024 Crosstrek I'm showing you here, there is virtually no fuel economy penalty for going with the larger engine with the 2.5-liter unit. You're getting an extra 30 horsepower for less than $4 added to your monthly gas bill, making this engine upgrade particularly easy to live with and an easy decision. So with a combined fuel economy rating of about 8 liters per 100 kilometers with either engine, it's a fuel bill around $3,000 annually regardless of your choice, or about $250 per month, but budget an extra $450 per year or so in added fuel consumption if you're going with the more rugged wilderness model, which is a little thirstier. And finally, the Chevrolet Trailblazer with the only 3-cylinder turbo engines on our list. It's a 1.2 or 1.3 with 137 or 155 horsepower respectively. These engines are virtually tied at 7.8 liters of gas to drive 100 kilometers in combined driving, and all-wheel drive makes it 8.4 liters of gas to drive that same distance, with the 1.3-liter turbo engine. That's $2,925 per year from front-wheel drive models, and $3,150 for all-wheel drive, or a difference of $225 per year to run the all-wheel drive system. Call it just under $20 a month. Translation? With a few exceptions, there's really only a few $100s a year separating the fuel bills of these machines.